Alright guys, how's it going? Today should be the day. Today should be the day that we finally get this bad boy all up and running. So I've already taken the time to run the pipe across here. It's only connected to this bottom one here, because I hadn't decided yet how I was doing the CO2 and the oxygen. Well, I have now decided how I'm doing that. So let's get this all done here. So from what I can remember, we need to connect this one here, which is our oxygen. And I need my wrench. We're going to connect that all up there. And then that should be everything but the CO2. And the CO2 should be the bottom one because it's the heaviest. So we should have everything in here. Oxygen, neon, helium. We don't have nitrogen because we voided all that. And we don't have argon because I have that in a tank. So there we go. That's the ones we're going to use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The very bottom one isn't used. And as we discussed, the farthest one there at the bottom is actually the solid, which is the ice, which I need to get made into a block. Alright, so that means I have got none of these connected to tanks yet. So we need to decide which tank is going to be which. And if we look at air again, we have helium, which is lighter than air, neon, which is lighter than air, and argon, which is heavier than air. So this one we're going to go ahead and make the helium. I'm hoping it goes in first, and we're going to find out here quickly. No, oxygen went in. That figures, but we can deal with that. Oxygen is actually lighter than air, I think. Oxygen is heavier than air. Alright, so that just means we take that out. And by doing so, that'll void everything that's inside of it. So there we go. That's empty. So now we're going to open this way instead. And I made this tank. And now it should have our oxygen going in, which it does. And we're actually going to see if this works. Yeah, I didn't think it would, but we can put a pipe on there and that will work. So we're just going to put this on here. We're going to take this off. And we're going to set this for the oxygen. And then we're just going to throw this on the side there. And we actually can't do that because it is a gas. It should. That's going to output to the tank below it too. Can't do that. Hold on. Do that again. I need to move this somewhere else. How do I want to do this? Take that off. At least now we have an oxygen filter, which is what we need. But yeah, I'm just going to void the oxygen because we have so much oxygen from everywhere else, it's kind of unnecessary. So let's go ahead and just do it this way, because we need to run this down here anyways for the nitrogen. So we'll put this one here, and we'll open it to that side, and then we'll take our tank here, and now that should be getting our oxygen. So I'll make sure that didn't reset that. Yeah. So now we should be getting our oxygen in here, if there was any left in there, which there is not. But then we can have this come out the bottom, and I wonder if I can actually just put that on the... that's an idea. I didn't think about that. If I just put that right on the filter, it won't let it go on the filter. Okay. So then we'll just sit it right there, and we'll put the drum right there, and that is open to it, and it's set to will fill. So now, as soon as that pipe fills up with oxygen, it'll void it, which is what we want it to do. Alright, so let's go see what our next one is we're going to get out of here. I really probably didn't have to come all the way up here, but I did, so I do want to make sure this is not set to fill. Won't fill. That's what we want. Alright, so now we're going to get neon, which, as we discussed, is the lighter. So we want this in this tank. So we're going to put a filter here and plop that there. And then we can go ahead and open that up. And now we should have neon right in here. And then I can put this here and open it, which will empty it. And now we just need to make sure the neon is out of here, which it is. So now we'll put the next one here. And survey says helium. And we're going to put helium into this tank. So that, put this back down, and open her up. Make sure it's out of there, which it is. And now we have our helium tank. And then we just need to get the helium through there, which pretty much is. Let's see if we get any more out of there. We should end up with CO2, which is the next one. And this is heavier than air as well. And we are already voiding CO2. Unfortunately, I may end up later on down the line capturing this if I end up needing carbon. But right now I really don't. So we're going to do the same thing with the CO2. And we're going to void it back out into the environment. So that'll take care of all the CO2 that comes in and all of the oxygen. So now that leaves us with nothing in our pipe except for the little bit of CO2 that always gets stuck because we have a T-shaped pipe there. So now if we turn this back on, I have this one that is going to give us our argon, and we're going to put that one right here. So our argon will go in this tank. So now this tank should be nice and empty, and we should have argon in here. So that takes care of everything. Now we should have gotten some nitrogen in the system. So I'm going to turn this off one more time. Let this run as empty as we can get it. There will be little remainders moving around. I may have to deal with that, but we're going to let them float a bit. Let's see if we can actually get the nitrogen to go into this. So if I do that, what do I get? Oxygen. Yeah, see, that figures. I'm going to get little remainders of crap instead of the actual nitrogen I want. And I can deal with that by just popping this off real quick. Throw that on top. And then that'll empty that back out. Really? That is not where I told you to go. There we go. And this is CO2 and nitrogen. Let's see what we get. And survey says we have argon. And we have CO2 in the tank because I didn't set this to not do that. Crap. Alright, well this is going to be a bit fiddly. It's going to take me a minute. So let me get all this out of here, and then I'm going to have to get to the valve, because just breaking the edge of this won't do anything. I'm going to actually break the valve. And then Alright. So we should have nothing in this again. Alright, give me a minute. I'll get the nitrogen in here. Figures the very next place I put it, I end up with nitrogen. Alright, so now we can just put that there. Hit it. Nitrogen's in here. We can have that empty out into there. And we now have our nitrogen. And we definitely want the nitrogen, so we're not voiding that. But that should be it. And now, when I am ready, I can start making the helium neon tubes that we're going to need. Helium. These right here, helium neon laser emitters, and we're going to need those for our crystal processor sockets, which we can then use to make our diamond, sapphire, ruby, and emerald crystal sets or processors, and that will allow us to get into the Quantum H. So the main reason why I'm wanting this isn't really for the large machines, which are quite nice, don't get me wrong, and I will be making them, but the main reason why I want to get into it is for the matter fabricator and the replicator. Mainly the matter fabricator, because if I can make a matter fabricator, I can take the oxygen and stuff like that and shove it into there rather than void it. Turn it into neutral and charged matter, which will then be able to be used to make something more useful. So rather than voiding something that is useless, I can make something more useful out of it. It takes a lot more power. It's something we're going to have to do in the future when we get to that point, but it's something we can kind of look ahead to. And right now we have so much hydrogen, we really don't have a problem of wasting a little bit of power, because we're literally making power right now off of our power cell. But what we just did is going to get us a good sink for our hydrogen power. So we're going to be using hydrogen to power making nitrogen and stuff like that. And look at there, we have actually managed to empty the crusher, so I can finally turn it off for a little while. And that means it's time for me to go and get that niter so we can start making nitric acid, because we're going to do that before we actually do the nitric acid with the nitrogen we have, because that as well, if we look at nitrogen, we need a lightning processor. It takes 4,000 EU to run this thing to make 20 liters of nitrogen monoxide. And then the nitrogen monoxide needs to be mixed with oxygen to make nitrogen dioxide. And then that goes with the water to make nitric acid, which is what we've been working on getting, is nitric acid, because we need nitric acid for breaking down in a bath our not those that's the wrong thing. Oh, not nitric acid, sorry. We need to mix nitric acid with hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. Damn it. Nitric acid with hydrochloric acid to make aquariga, and then we're going to use that in a bath to get our platinum group sludge from sheldonite and stuff like that. There's also copper, but that's for getting cobalt, and gold for getting copper. Iridium can be done in there for platinum group sludge. Meteoric iron can actually be done in there to get platinum group sludge. And we have found at least 2 iridium veins. We can also use nickel, which we've been saving all of our nickel this whole time that we get. We have very little, but we have 141 of those. And we can use those to get us platinum group sludge as well. And the platinum group sludge is really going to get us a better way of getting osmium. And for the stuff that we're looking at, the replication stuff and other quantum level stuff, we're going to need osmium. If I look at the replicator, so there's our matter replicator. These compact force field emitters take osmium wires. Everything else in there is pretty easy to do. We've been getting ender pearls little by little, so that's not a big deal. But I literally have one osmium right now. That's because I haven't gone and processed any iridium vein because I want to get the most out of it that I can. So that's something that we're going to be working towards in the next little bit. We also need to work on getting this set up. We have a bath here for our persulfite, and that is going to be used for our malachite. It's also going to be used for our tetra from now on to get us extra copper out of it. We'll probably run copper through it as well. And there's a few other things. We'll look into that. So that's something else we need to get started messing with. And then, like I said last time, we need to take a look at how I am controlling these machines, because we've managed to fill up on sulfuric acid, because we've managed to make too much hydrochloric acid over here. I didn't limit this one, so this one is not letting sulfuric acid come in right now because we're too full, but this one overmade it because I didn't limit it, and I should have. So we are full on hydrochloric and sulfuric, and our hematite cannot run. I had to change this out to a mass storage because the barrel got full. So I need to limit that last machine. It's basically going to be set as our last resort, that if we don't have any salt to run through sulfuric acid, or we're low on sulfuric acid, then we'll end up using the chlorine and oxygen to make hydrochloric, and I didn't set that up. So, but as I said, once we get into the nitric acid, we're going to be using hydrochloric to make our aqua regia. We're going to be using sulfuric acid to make our nitric acid from the niter that we're going to go get, so it's not a big deal. We may not have a Wednesday video. I'm not sure yet, but we will have a mining and music going and getting the niter, and I may just do a video afterwards showing the processing that I do to get what we need to get the nitric acid. So there either won't be one, or that's what it'll be, and then on Friday we will set up making the nitric acid out of the niter that I mined. So if you guys enjoy watching mining and music, keep an eye out in the next couple of days. I'll probably do it on YouTube. Well, I'll definitely do it on YouTube, and I'll probably do it in the morning time instead of the middle of the night like I used to. So if you'd like to come in and just ask some questions, things like that, keep an eye out, like Tuesday or Wednesday morning. There should be a stream. You can come in, ask me things, and interact with me while I go and mine some niter. That's going to be it for today, folks. You have a good one. I'll see you next time.